This is a computer. Computers can play games. What? I thought you needed a specifically designed sophisticated machine dedicated for gaming, such as a console. Wrong. Literally any laptop, desktop PC, Office PC, if it has Windows or Linux on it, it will play games. Even a Mac would, but Macs kinda suck for gaming. I've been PC gaming since like 2003, back when we still used floppies and CDs, and honestly, to this day, it's one of the best, if not the best way to experience gaming. Better graphics, higher frame rates, more peripheral choices, modding support, even semi-exclusive games and entire genres. PC gaming is great, however, it's not perfect, so today we will be looking at the most commonly expressed PC gaming issues and ranking them on the scale of how bad they are. Either not a problem at all, a minor annoyance, bearable, pretty bad, or downright awful. Number one is pretty obvious, it's the price. See, the thing about PC parts is that yes, you can absolutely build a PC for a budget of $500. Or you can go all out and spend $5,000 if you choose to. But usually there's a middle ground where you can get the best of both worlds. I would argue that the average PC today costs more than PCs in the mid-2010s. Like, look at Nvidia, they don't care anymore. Their GPU pricing is all over the place. In general, graphics cards have gotten way more expensive in the last 10 years. And this actually really sucked because this makes PC gaming less accessible. For instance, in Nvidia's case, their 60 or even 50 class GPUs used to be the mid-range, the best value option. Yet now in 2024, you have to go as high as the RTX 4070 Super in order to feel like you got your money's worth. We're talking about spending $500 alone on just one component. I mean, this thing better be good at more things than just gaming if it wants to justify its price, like cleaning my room or something. So yeah, that initial barrier to entry price for PC gaming is a big turnoff for a lot of people. However, what I will say is that once you do get past that, the PC you buy usually ages pretty well. Like even today, graphics cards from nearly a decade ago, like the Nvidia GTX 1080s and even the GTX 1070s, are doing all right in a lot of games. So for the issue of price, I'll be placing it in the pretty bad tier in terms of how big of a problem it is. Now, the next point may not apply to everyone, but if you choose to build a PC yourself for whatever reason, maybe you want to do it yourself because, let's be honest, it's really fun, or heard bad things about pre-builds and it's cheaper in your area. Building your first PC can be pretty intimidating, like knowing, if your parts are compatible, worrying about getting the right power supply or if its wattage is good enough, putting the CPU in, installing the CPU cooler, plugging in those silly front I/O connectors, installing Windows or Linux, etc., etc. It's a lot of busy work and a lot of headache depending on where you're stuck at. Now, personally, listen, I really love building PCs. It's actually super fun to put it all together. It's literally adult Lego. But honestly, don't feel bad about going with a pre-built PC instead, since you can avoid a lot of pain of having to research for your first PC build. The process of building a PC goes into the bearable tier. It's not that bad. I would actually say it's pretty fun. I personally encourage folks to build a PC because, yeah, it just honestly, it feels good. But at the same time, I've heard horror stories of people making big mistakes in the building process, which caused tons of headaches. I mean, we're talking about people frying their motherboards and putting the CPU wrong. That's why I hope you understand why I'm putting it in this tier. All right, so you got your PC, and especially if you're coming from a console, one thing that you may definitely find strange is that on a PC, a lot of game publishers have their own launchers. So unlike on something like PlayStation or Xbox, where you just click a button and install and play the game that you want, on PC, if you want to say play, I don't know, Rocket League, you need an Epic Games launcher. All right, so that's not too bad, but wait, there's more. What if you want to play Dota 2 or Counter-Strike? Well, now you also have to download and install and run those specific games through Steam. Or perhaps you want to play XDefiant. Now you have to download the Ubisoft Connect launcher, which, by the way, I absolutely hate. Same goes for the Xbox Game Pass stuff with the Xbox PC app. But not only that, say you want to play Battlefield. Well, no problem, it's on Steam, right? I'll just download that version. Well, that's a bit deceptive since when you launch the game through Steam, you still have to install and run the EA launcher. So do you see the problem? There's like tons of different launchers that you have to install and use in order to play certain games on PC. Now, some would say, again, that it's not a big deal, it's just a launcher, bro. True, but it's annoying, your playtimes are not synced into one place, your friends list may differ, your achievements aren't on one platform. It's just a modern PC gaming problem that I feel like it's getting way worse over time. It's like, yeah, you can just stick to Steam, but there's always going to be that one game that your friends are telling you to go and play that will force you to finally download and install a specific launcher. I really want to put the PC game launcher problem into the awful tier, but removing my personal feelings aside, I'll be placing it into the pretty bad tier. There are apps like Play9 that do help to alleviate this problem somewhat, but it's not perfect, and I do hope that more companies move to either using Steam or work on having a more unified platform for general games. That being said, this next one is arguably one of the worst issues with PC gaming, but only depending on the type of games that you actually play, and that's bad PC ports. It's kind of weird that this is still an issue considering how big the PC platform is, or just has become. You'd think that game companies would put the extra time to make sure that their game actually works right, but this is the gaming industry we're talking about after all. So if you don't know, bad PC ports basically boil down to two categories: performance and accessibility. For your gameplay experience, that means that the game will stutter as you move through the level. Star Wars Stutter Survivor is infamous for having this issue. Basically, since every computer comes with a different graphics card, the game has to pre-cache the shaders in order to run well. Problem is though that not every game has the pre-shader compilation step included at the start. Worse yet, some games that do have this still suffer from having stutters as you traverse through the level. Bad PC ports can also include crashes, freezes, or in-game graphic settings that literally kill performance. Now, accessibility, on the other hand, is more to do with the lack of things like FOV sliders in certain games, awful in-game menus, bad user interface, or bad user experience when using a mouse. They also have mouse acceleration, no options to rebind the keys, etc., etc. Some of the worst ports in recent memory include the aforementioned Star Wars Jedi Survivor, The Last of Us Part 1, that featured terrible performance, Dead Space Remake, and even Elden Ring is guilty of having pretty bad, performance and micro-stuttering. In terms of ranking, seriously, it's pretty difficult because the truth is that bad PC ports may not affect you in the slightest depending on the games that you play. Games like Valorant literally can run on toasters or, smart fridges or something, and because they're super optimized. But when you do play that one game, and seriously, it just takes one game that should run fine on your system because you spent like so much money on your PC, you have a beefy graphics card, your CPU is powerful, you have plenty of RAM, and yet you still get stuttering or performance drops, and it all just culminates in you being and feeling super frustrated. So I will be putting bad PC ports into the pretty bad tier. Now, one other thing about PC gaming is the reality that PC is an open platform, which can be a good thing, letting you run mods, emulators, different installers, programs, etc. But at the same time, when discussing this, I instantly think of GTA 5 Online, since it's notorious for having terrible security implementation, allowing modders and hackers to run third-party tools to gain access to players' IP addresses. You literally have to use a VPN in order to play GTA Online, which honestly baffles me. And when my friends call me to play GTA Online, I of course use Surfshark to stay secure. Surfshark VPN is fast, reliable, stable, and has a ton of different features like bypasser, with which I can run the VPN through specific games and apps or websites. Beyond just keeping you safe while gaming, Surfshark will keep your data safe as you browse. And also, remember when I mentioned that PC is an open platform? Yeah, that means that there is a chance of your PC getting a virus, which is why Surfshark Antivirus is an excellent tool to keep your PC protected and safe. Just for viewers of Surfshark Academy, by using the code ACADEMY at the checkout or using the link below in the description, you can get 3 months for free added to your subscription when purchasing Surfshark. It's a great deal and a great way to support our channel to help us continue making more videos, well, just like this. So now, again, the unfortunate reality is that on PC, you're way more likely to run into hackers and cheaters when playing online games. For instance, I love playing Battlefield 5 on PC, and no joke, on every other game there's a cheater in a server. Interestingly, the flagship esports title from Valve, CS2, also has a ton of cheaters, and in the competitive mode no less. Now, cheating on consoles is also possible, don't get me wrong, but again, it's just way easier to do that on PC where running cheats is literally a few downloads away. Okay, so let me just say that cheating makes me very angry. Like, no joke, I get super frustrated when I run into cheaters, which is again why ranking this problem is hard, because there are games that do handle anti-cheating very well, or it may also not impact you at all if you only play single-player games. But considering this only impacts online gaming and some games again handle anti-cheating decently well, I think it's fair to put PC online cheating into the bearable tier. Like, it's not the worst, but if there's a game you play a lot, like again Counter-Strike 2 like me, where cheating is rampant, it can be pretty quite honestly depressing. Just like how not owning your games can be awful and depressing. Look, digital games are cool, no need for discs, worry about taking up shelf space, swapping disc when you want to play a different game and so on. And PC games have been digital since like forever now. Like, when's the last time you've seen a disc drive in a modern gaming PC? However, physical games are being taken away from us for a reason. They give consumers more power in terms of game ownership. So say if you buy a game physically, yeah, you have to deal with putting the disc in every time you want to play it, but at the same time, if you want, you can freely resell it, lend it to a friend, gift it, long after you finished playing that game. And honestly, that is really, really cool. Now, I want to make it clear that on Steam, you can actually share your games, your digital games, with a friend, as long as you're not playing that game at the same time. But in terms of purchases, once you buy a digital game, it's registered on your account forever. I'll be honest, this whole digital future does concern me a little bit, even though people keep telling me that, look, Steam is, it's gonna be forever, right? I still like that freedom of being able to, resell my game or freely give it away to my friends or family. So with all that being said, I'll put this in the minor annoyance category. At this point, we just have to accept that physical games are gone on PC, which makes me sad. I also feel that couch gaming on PC isn't that great. Yeah, I know this is probably me old man talking, everyone games online today anyway, right? Well, wrong. To this day, me and my uni friends regularly meet up at my place to play split screen local multiplayer games. And what do we use for that? A console. And the thing is, I've tried connecting my PC to the TV, but it just wasn't as smooth. The first issue we ran into was actually to do with controllers, as by default, the Bluetooth connection doesn't handle more than one controller very well, and so they would start to just randomly disconnect. You actually need to buy a separate Xbox wireless adapter. Yeah, you need this thing here, which costs 25 bucks so that the controllers don't disconnect. And even after doing all that, the game may not recognize your controller correctly. Plus, many games don't always include the local multiplayer mode on PC for whatever reason. I guess less people just do that kind of thing on PC, so they just don't bother to include it. Overall, I'll place this into the minor annoyance tier. It's totally possible to play local multiplayer games on PC. Plus, you can run emulators for older Nintendo games, so it does have its benefits. It's just that the whole setup part is so much easier on console than having to have your PC next to your big TV, which can be annoying, as well as the issues I mentioned earlier. Okay, high dynamic range, HDR. It's a fairly niche tech even today due to requiring a fairly expensive display to look good, but when you have the right hardware, it can look fairly impressive. However, on PC, HDR isn't handled very well, mostly due to, surprisingly, Windows. Colors can look washed out while using the OS regularly. A lot of games don't have good HDR calibration menus, so it can be pretty hard to properly adjust vibrance and brightness. Plus, many PC monitors advertise HDR, yet they lack the brightness and/or contrast ratio to produce good-looking HDR. I do hope that as the time goes on and more OLED monitors become commonplace, and affordable for that matter, that HDR on PC will eventually be good, but for now, you might as well just use SDR. Bad HDR goes into the bearable category. It just needs to improve, just like Windows. Hate it or love it, it's the main gaming OS for PC gamers. Yeah, Linux is great and more games do support Linux, but I'm afraid to say that there are still a ton of games that, well, still lack Linux support. Imagine your buddy texting you like, hey yo, there's this cool new game we should try out, download it, only for you to realize that it doesn't work on Linux due to anti-cheat or something. Beyond that, a lot of mods for older games especially only work on Windows. Now, Windows in itself isn't awful, but there have been instances of it having updates that either break games or downgrade your performance, or even worse, causing crashes, etc. Oh, and spying on you. Great, my gaming system is spying on me. Awesome, fantastic. Being stuck on Windows and it being the main OS for PC gamers isn't great, but Linux is growing and can be used if you don't play certain online games. So with a lot of consideration, I'll be placing Windows into the minor annoyance tier. All right, it's time for the last and final problem that I see a lot of people mentioning with PC gaming. And this one is going to be subjective, so please don't get your pitchforks out, don't shoot the messenger, all right? But it's just this sentiment that, again, I see online and I do feel personally too, sometimes, and that's the PC gaming can low-key feel like a job. Okay, what I mean is that if you work from home or you work a corporate job in an office, sometimes after coming home, working all day, the last thing you want to do is sit at a desk and play games on your PC. Hence the feels like a job statement. Now, you can absolutely connect your PC to the TV, use something like Steam Big Picture Mode, maybe even go a step further by installing, Steam OS and such. But even then, not all games will have optimized TV style UI or default controller inputs. You may also need to connect a keyboard or mouse to troubleshoot something, which you can imagine on a couch can be pretty annoying. Overall, that's where a console is a better option because it just works. Thanks, Todd. This is why I said that this can be entirely subjective based on you as a person, the type of job that you have, and such. But since this is my tier list, I'll be placing the feels like a job problem into the bearable tier. But hey, listen, in conclusion, PC gaming is awesome. By the way, I just realized that, we did not put a single issue into the not a problem category, which just shows you that, all of these issues are, at the end of the day, still issues. But past all that, the PC platform is still growing rapidly. In 2020, Steam alone had 132 million monthly active users. I mean, 3 years later, I can imagine that number being way higher. Perhaps it's even fair to say that PC gaming has outgrown console gaming in terms of popularity. By the way, one thing that I didn't mention in this video is the fact that even if you have a super duper old PC, you can still play a lot of cool games on it. Check out this video next, where we used a nearly 2-decade-old PC to play games like Minecraft, as well as many other PC gaming classics. I'll see you in that video, and bye for now.